Hey guys, Panic Knife here with theawfulgamer.com, and today I'm going to be covering the Xenoanalyst hard mode. This is the 8-man version on Star Wars: The Old Republic. So this is one of the operation bosses that is available now with the new Gree event, which is going on for another week, but is supposed to come back. So hopefully this video will be relevant longer than that. But yeah, this is the hard mode version, and it is a terrible clear. I think almost everybody dies in the end of it. The only reason I'm posting this is to show you that it's not that difficult as long as you know the mechanics. Now, our biggest problem with this whole fight was the fact that most of our DPS had terrible gear. We had one DPS that was even remotely operation geared, so like 61/63 level gear. And then it was like myself, I have pretty good gear on my healer here. The other healer was okay geared, and the two tanks were decently geared. They're both Juggernaut tanks, I believe, and pretty much they have decent enough gear that their mitigation stats aren't totally terrible. Now, Xenoanalyst on hard mode has a few mechanics. The first one you saw right off the bat is the panels. Basically, the fight will start out by he will throw up his shield after a little bit of damage, and then these panels will go up on the sides. Everybody has to click the panels, and basically he throws out an AoE damage that does about 7k to the raid, and then you continue on the boss. Now there is a trick there that if everybody goes, or everybody that clicks goes behind a pylon right after they click, and then letting the off tank make the last click, that will make it so only he takes damage, and obviously as a tank he'll take less damage. Now, I don't find it that difficult to heal through. Basically what I ended up doing was just throwing down a puddle in the middle and having everybody stack on the puddle. The 7k pretty much will just heal itself at that point. That's one of the lovely parts of being a Sorc healer. But the other mechanic that is present in this one is the fact that he does what they call a thermal tolerance cast. That will more or less make a damage debuff stack on the tank that takes it, and also it puts out a bunch of damage at the same time. Now, the best way to mitigate that is, first of all, if you have an assassin tank, he should take it, because what he can do is hit Force Shroud and then do Force Speed to run behind the pylon. As soon as he breaks line of sight, it will make it so that the cast stops and there will be no additional stacks. Additionally, if you have that Force Shroud, the second that you hit Force Shroud, you won't take any additional stacks. So if you take it after getting the first stack, all it is a 20% damage buff for the boss, which is not good, obviously, but it could be worse. If you have other types of tanks, it gets a little bit more tricky. Now, if you have a Juggernaut tank, he can intercede to, if you have a healer standing back towards the back, towards one of the pylons, he can intercede to that healer and break the cast pretty quickly. If you have a power tech tank, it's probably going to require a pull from a sorcerer. Otherwise, he's going to take a lot of stacks. Basically, he just, as long as he's kind of aware and immediately moves, it's not the end of the world. As you can see, the tank does take quite a bit of damage off of that. If you just sit there and try to face tank it, you're screwed. So you're going to have to do something about trying to mitigate that damage. In addition, the other tank is going to have to taunt right away, because obviously with the damage buff, you don't really want to be continuing to tank the boss at that point. Now, the other phase is when you see something on a cast bar, on the enemy's cast bar saying environmental analysis, if you're DPSing or tanking, you're going to immediately look to see where the boss points and launches like a little fine white laser towards one of the data cores on the side. You're going to go and burn down that data core quickly. I think you have a 30-second timer to beat that, and then get back on the boss once it's down. Everybody needs to do that, though. That's one of the big things in this fight. If you don't get the data cores down, he'll start one-shotting people, which is bad news. Another mechanic that that I didn't mention at first was the fact that you're going to have only one person, or only one person can click each panel, and each panel can only be, or each person can only click one. So it has to be everybody clicking panels. Now, as you can see, during the panel phase, they will have ads coming up. The first set of ads can be tanked by one tank. It's not that big of a deal, but the second ones hit like a truck. So the method that I've seen people use is they have one tank kiting the majority of them, do it using AoE taunts, using, you know, like Wither if you're a assassin tank. And then the other tank will peel one of them off single target, and all the DPS will focus down that ad. Once it gets down to 2, obviously each of the tanks can do single target tanking. But if you have more than one on you and you're just standing there face tanking, they're going to kill you. So if you watch how they're kiting it around the room here, that's pretty much how you do it. It's not too tough as long as you're popping cooldowns and stuff. Although if you still have the debuff and you have more than, you know, like 2 or 3 stacks, these things will pretty much one-shot you. So make sure that you do not, well, do that. So then after you finish taking down the ads, and you should take them down as quickly as possible, get back on the panels, make sure that those panels get down, eat your, you know, 7k damage, and then get back on the boss. This boss encounter is pretty cool in that it gives you, I believe, 2, if not 2, it's 1, but it gives you one of the artifact purple reputation coin things, which helps you to get the higher reputation levels, which will let you get the Tron gear or the Bind on Legacy sabers and all that kind of stuff, which is stuff you get from this event. It also drops on hard mode. It drops a piece of hazmat level gear, which is 63 level. Even if you don't have, you know, the perfect piece coming out of it, and even though it doesn't have a set bonus, you can still reverse engineer it for parts, and in addition, it's still pretty good gear. So I would definitely say it's worth it. It's also on hard mode. 8-man gives you 6 pieces of the data shards or whatever it is, which is what you use to purchase the legacy gear. So again, highly recommend you do this fight. It's not that hard, as you can see. Like I said, my group is really crappy. We're still managing to get through it. So definitely, if you see people spamming for it, you know, obviously tell them to watch my video here for the strategy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As long as you get down to in under 7 minutes, you get the boss down to 20%. It then starts this burn phase where he will start attacking random people for quite a bit of damage. Now here's the trick. You're going to see us go into complete chaos mode here, and that's because the main tank, as you can see on this debuff bar, he still has like 9 stacks. So he gets hit by the boss once and gets one-shotted. There's nothing I can do about that as a healer. So we're immediately in we're screwed mode, because this tank can only taunt so many times. He's going to do a threat drop and start attacking different people, and you know, your healers just aren't going to be able to keep him up through that. So don't be that guy. Don't, you know, just completely screw your group over by staying on the boss. That's why you need 2 tanks. Make sure that the person who without the debuff takes the first hit and continues to take aggro. Pretty much at that point, it's going to become a DPS race. Our DPS is crappy, so obviously it's taking forever to get him down at this point. Throw out your AoE heal if you can. I actually burned through my force trying to keep our second tank up, which was a bad idea. And as you will see, I'm going to be like, okay, well, there's nothing else I can really do here. So I switched to the boss, targeted him, and I believe I was the one who took the boss down. So that's pretty much it. Anyway, with theawfulgamer.com, this is your boy Panic Knife. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a good night.